A very warm welcome to you to this interview. We have Anuj Mehra from Bangalore today. Anuj is a cloud architect in Wipro. He has been there for 1 year now, and he has close to 20 years of work experience. So, welcome, Anuj. It's really nice of you to come forward for this interview. Can you just add some more to your introduction, please?
Yeah. Thank you. Thanks, Sudhi, for that introduction. That was brief, but to the point. Hello everyone. My name is Anuj Mehra, and I am in the IT industry for almost 2 decades, as Sudhi said. And I started my career, where most people end it. I love to say that because my first job was at a company called CMC, and my first site was Mantralaya. Where all the ministers and bureaucrats sit, and that's why I always love to say this, that
Okay.
I started my career where most people ended.
So, CMC in Bandra Kurla complex?
Yes,
Mumbai.
Bandra to
Oh, okay.
Mumbai, yeah. So my
Okay.
first site was Mantralaya, and I'm very proud
Mhm.
to say that the computerization of Mantralaya was done
Mhm.
by me, So, and one more guy, Swapnil, and we
Okay.
both together actually did the computerization of the entire Mantralaya, So, and obviously two people cannot do the whole thing, but we
Yes.
were kind of leads, and we had people under us. So
Mhm.
we are the ones who pioneered computerization of Mantralaya.
What kind of computerization was it?
So we had to install the computers, printers, and laptops for
Mhm.
the ministers and the IS
Okay.
officers. So
Okay.
it was a very interesting kind of a first job. Where I
Hmm.
got the privilege to go inside the chief minister's office, the deputy chief
Nice.
minister's office. And that was
Okay.
a great experience. I'd just like to share an anecdote if you don't mind.
Oh yeah, please go ahead.
Yeah. So what happened is, since the Mantralaya computerization was on, and I was assigned the task to put computers inside the chief minister's office, and I was like, in height, I was a very tiny guy, So they were industrialists and big, businessmen waiting outside the CM office, and I'm walking in like a celebrity. So people kind of looked at me, how come he's going inside before us, kind of a
We are
thing.
waiting.
So that was a that was a great experience, And
Nice.
after Mantralaya, I started my career in the hardware, physical hardware and
Mhm.
printers, and then I graduated sort of to networking, got to understand, how do I network the computers, and then so basically my start of my career was basically from the hardware field.
Okay.
Though I tried my hand at the software, but
Mhm.
somehow it didn't click. So I was
Okay.
pretty much on the touch and feel kind of a guy.
Yes. 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 And you ended up in cloud, where there is
And
no more touch and feel anymore.
yes, so no matter how much you avoid, you end up where you don't want to go. That's destiny. But having said that, I enjoy cloud more than anything now. Because I can put organizations, especially after the pandemic. The focus on cloud, or the digitization, as they say. Digitization of the offices is really on the upswing. So,
True. True.
be it a small grocery store to be it a global organization, everybody needs an online presence. And you would agree that even you are conducting your courses online. There is no
Yes.
way.
Yes. I mean, what would I
So
do without the cloud? Really?
yes.
Yeah.
So no matter which industry you are, digital or the cloud does touch your life.
Yes, yes. Very much so. You and your industry, that is cloud, you're the future of this world. So, thank you so much for the introduction, Anuj.
Yeah.
In these 2 decades of work experience, I'm sure you would have seen a lot of ups, a lot of downs as well. And you talked of one memorable experience, no doubt. What I would like you to tell us about is what has been one major achievement, your biggest achievement in your career so far?
Okay, so I have many achievements over a 20-year career, but three or four come to my mind, and probably I'll just mention them briefly. The first one I already told you about, the computerization, which was done in stipulated time. That is one of the achievements. The second one was when I was working for a company called Hewlett Packard, and I was handling storage support for US. And we had storage box that was down, and the case had been escalated, and there was a VP on the call, and he
Mm.
came all guns blazing and said that I want this box up in another 10 minutes, otherwise I'm canceling the
Wow.
contract. That level of,
Huge stakes. Mm-hmm.
yeah. So I very, coolly and kept my cool. And I just said to the VP, with due respect, sir, the box understands only technology and not designations. So if you allow me 10 minutes, I will make sure that it is up. And I did that in 10 minutes. So that was a big achievement, that I remember. Then recently I had a customer where, I had to install some tool to do their discovery and assessment of their entire estate. So that tool installation was a bone of contention, because the customer was very fidgety that what this tool will do and it will bring down my systems. So
Mm-hmm.
that's where I employed one of the techniques I had learned, in your collaborative way of, win-win situation. So
Yes.
that's where I
Mm-hmm.
applied that technique and of
Wonderful.
negotiation skills. And
Okay.
I said to the customer, I will not deploy this tool in your production environment. Let us
Mm-hmm.
start with only your development environment, and that
Okay.
too, I will have my team at standby
Mm-hmm.
whenever you are, installing and running this tool, so that if there is even 1% doubt for you that it is bringing down or having some negative effect in your environment, we'll
Mm-hmm.
immediately roll back. And I had the
Okay.
engineers on standby, to which the
Okay.
customer agreed and everything went well.
Mm-hmm. Very nice. Very nice. Okay. These are high pressure situations that you talk about.
Yes, yes, very much high
Mm-hmm.
pressure. And the important takeaway from this is that you have to keep your cool even if the other person has lost it.
Yes, yes. And that's a big challenge. Very true.
That's a big
Yeah.
challenge. Yeah.
Yes. And you want to talk about the biggest achievement of all?
Yes, the biggest achievement, as I said, was this last one, where the customer was adamant that he will not allow to install the tool, and even her higher
Mhm.
management talked to their higher management, and
Okay.
things didn't work out. So then, kind of, I employed a creative thinking hat on me and said, there has to be a win-win situation, because I have to address the pain point of the customer, which was his anxiety that his system should not go down. Because then I later realized that he had a
Hmm.
previous vendor who had installed something that had
Okay.
brought his entire system down, and that was a
Oh.
manufacturing unit, so you can imagine.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yes.
that's where his apprehensions came from, which was later discovered in the RCA when we done it.
Mm-hmm.
But when I said I'll
Yes.
just employ it on the dev and not on the production, that was the icebreaker.
So he had burnt his fingers before, and that's why he's being so skeptical. Yeah,
Yes.
that's understandable. Moving on, Anuj, you have been in our leadership hub inner circle community for 1 year now. Is that right?
Yes, 1 year.
Okay. Yeah. So in the last 1 year, I know there must have been many things that you would have picked up, but
Mhm.
can you talk to us about three big learnings, three major learnings that you that have helped you in your career growth?
Okay. The very first thing that I would like to mention, what I learned from the Leadership Hub, is the office politics part of it. In fact, I was very much inclined to join this course when I heard about office politics module.
Wow.
Because and I'm sure a lot of your viewers and your students as well, would have be at the receiving end of the office politics. Because even I was, I'll be honest with it. And that's what, kind of attracted me to this course, because office politics, you like it or not, is everywhere. Okay. And most of the students, including me initially, had this negative connotation to office politics. So somehow we feel that office politics is bad and you have to stay away from it. And when I kind of heard one of your office politics lectures, and you had mentioned that you can take office politics in a positive way also. Like you can use office politics to defend yourself or get the
Your
genuine
advantage.
appreciation which you have done the work for. And that was
Absolutely.
an eye opener to me, because I never thought that office politics would also be good. Because till now, before joining your course, I had always carried this notion that office politics is bad.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll give an example where I use this positively. So an example given in the course was that, for example, a lot of people, I'll just elaborate a little because this I think will benefit everybody, most of it at least, if not all.
Yeah.
That whenever you do some good work, there is some other person who tends to take the credit.
Yes.
No, and this is the main, heartburn kind of for most of the people. And I'm sure everybody could relate to this. And I was also at the receiving end of it. So then one of the mentions in the lecture was that, for example, if you have done something positive, let's say you got an appreciation email. So what you should do is send that appreciation email to your higher ups so that they know that this customer has appreciated you for this thing. So first thing what you do by sending that email to your higher ups is you make sure that credit goes to you.
Yes.
And I would just like to add one thing which I did, which was my take on this and added it. So, what I said to the customer, you directly send the appreciation email to my boss. Don't send it to me. That has a better effect.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So this is what I learned from, the leadership hub.
Yeah.
And it actually works, and sometimes, people are hesitant to ask for appreciation, You should not be hesitant. If you have done a good job and if the customer is genuinely happy, there is absolutely no shame in asking for appreciation email.
You earned the right. Yeah.
You earned the right. So, I myself was initially very hesitant, Arey nahi yaar, main kaise mangunga? It doesn't look good. Come out of all that.
Yes. Yeah. And what you say is very important. People are reluctant to do that. The first point that you made about, getting the appreciation mail from your customer and forwarding it to your higher levels. So it is better than blowing your own trumpet. You let someone else do it for you.
Correct.
And the second part, where you ask your customer for appreciation whenever you have done good work, yes, you have earned the right. And many times people genuinely feel feel good about the work that you have done, feel nice about working with you, but it doesn't occur to them that they need to put it down officially so that it benefits you. And when you ask them to do that, they have no hesitation. So yeah, don't be reluctant to ask people to appreciate you.
Yes.
Very true. Very true. And tell me something. In your work experience, maybe even in your personal life, what is the one key principle, or maybe there are a few of them? What are those key principles that you adhere to, which have taken you so far?
Okay. So my key principle in life is, honesty is the best principle. And this principle was given to me by my father. He kind of instilled that in me. And initially, when I was in a teenager, you always kind of don't take everything at face value, right? So I used to question him, that, we are living in a world where, 90% of people don't follow 100% honesty. Then how do you say that honesty is the best principle? So he said a sentence that I still remember, that if you say the right thing or if you say the truth, you don't have to remember what you said earlier.
Very true, very true. Yeah. But to cover a lie, you will have to tell another 50 lies and remember each one of them.
And remember each one of them. So don't consume your memory on the wrong part.
Yes.
Say the truth. And I can, just relate that incident maybe just 10 days back or maybe last week, So we live in Corona times and everybody is some or the other person may have been infected or know somebody who would have infected with the Corona. Okay. So unfortunately, my kid turned positive last week, and we had the option not to disclose this to everybody and just keep shut and let the maid servant keep coming and do the household work, and to add to my challenge, my wife was having a medical issue and she was going physiotherapy sessions. Okay. So, it became doubly challenging for me. It was very lucrative just to keep quiet, isolate
a
myself.
Moral dilemma. Yes.
Yeah. And let the maid keep coming. And and don't inform anybody because anybody nowadays nobody comes at home anyway. But then I said to myself, this is cheating not only to to the maid but also to
Hmm.
my own self. I
Yeah,
cannot
your own conscience.
and
Yes.
my conscience. See, because the maid not only works at my place, right? So if she contracts it and goes to 10 other houses, I am the super
True.
spreader.
True. Yes. This is a
So
very simple example, but I can fully understand your dilemma. And unfortunately, most people say it about honesty being the best policy, but they don't really follow it. And I'm really glad that you give so much importance to it and also live by it. I think that's very important.
yes, definitely. Of course, I had to, I just take a little lighter note here, though after informing the association, my flat was sealed, I had to be isolated,
Mhm.
the maid stopped coming, and
Yes.
I had to join the BJP brigade, and it's not political, it's Bartan Jhadu Pocha.
That's a good one. Yes. Yeah.
So that's the price of honesty. So remember, honesty doesn't come without a price. Sometimes you have
Yes.
to pay a very steep price, but it's worth
Mhm.
paying, is what I want to say.
Yes. Very true. And that also becomes your identity because once people who interact with you, now even the ones who are watching this video, once they realize that you're a person who values honesty so much, then the interaction with you is going to be very different because yes, there may be times when there could be some stress or some disagreement, but as long as you know that the person in front of you values honesty so much, it helps a lot.
Yes, yes,
It helps tremendously. That's
definitely.
wonderful, and that's really nice to know. So keep at it, and I'm glad that after all these years of experience, and I'm sure some hard knocks as well, you have adhered to this principle. That's really, really very nice. The
Yeah,
next
thank you.
question I want to ask you is after the principles, let's talk about people. So
Yeah.
I'm sure that all your growth and progress and achievements and success and rewards, everything else is not just your own. Surely there would be many people who would have contributed to it, small way, big way. What we would like to know is who have been the biggest influence as far as your success in your career is concerned, in your life is concerned. Can we talk about those people? It could be one person, it could be multiple people. So tell us about the people who have played a, the biggest role in your life success.
Sure, sure. No, I like to count three people here. So one would be my school teacher. I was in St. Paul's School, and my school teacher's name was Miss Philomena, and she
Philomena
was
from St. Paul School. Which city was it in?
this Mumbai.
Okay, in Mumbai. Uh-huh.
Yeah. So she was. It so happened that I when I was in fifth, she was my class teacher. When I was in sixth,
Okay.
she graduated to be the sixth class teacher, and this went on till 10th standard. It is a very very
Okay.
strange coincidence that
Yeah.
for 5 out of 6 years, she was my class teacher, and for 1 year she was my subject teacher. So I've never
Very nice.
lost touch with her. And the
Very
thing
good.
that influenced me about her was that I was her favorite student, and the whole class
That helps.
knew it.
Uh-huh.
But once what happened is that I did not do one homework,
Mm-hmm.
and I was expecting, since I am her favorite, she will let me go and kind of
Mm-hmm. Be
gently tell
lenient
me,
to you.
be
Uh-huh.
lenient to me, but not the case. So the rule was that time when we were kids that if somebody does do a homework, she will give 5 scales on the knuckles. That was very
Wow.
painful.
Yes, yes. Yeah, I
So,
remember those
she
knocks.
said, though you are my favorite student, but that doesn't mean I compromise with the rules and principles. And
Mm-hmm.
that's a
Mm-hmm.
learning I had all my life, that you may
Very
have
true.
your
You
favorites,
have to be fair. Yeah.
but you have to be fair, and that's the thing
Mm-hmm.
I picked up from her. So that was a big
Mm-hmm.
influence. And of course, she was my English teacher. So whatever English I can speak today is because of her. I can
Nice.
give a great
Okay.
chunk of credit to her, definitely.
Yes.
And the second person in my life who definitely had a very, very big influence on my life, my thinking, was my father, Mr. Ramnath. He's
Mm-hmm.
no more, but
Mm-hmm.
his thoughts, his sayings, his preachings,
Mm-hmm.
still influence me. I still kind
Yeah.
of remember him.
Yes.
So
That's
as I
very
told you,
good.
he inculcated the reading habit in, which is very,
Okay.
very rare these days.
Yes.
In the era of Kindle, you don't know what the book the smell of the book feels like.
Smell,
So
feel, touch, look,
the
everything.
touch,
Yes.
yeah. So even, I have read one sentence I still would like to share with everybody on your call, is that
Mm-hmm.
leaders are readers.
Yes.
So
Yes.
no matter which industry you are, if you pick up the
Mm.
top guy in your industry, he
Mm.
has some two or three common habits, and I'd just like to share those habits for the benefit of
Mhm.
everyone. The leaders are early risers or late sleepers, depend
Okay.
which
Uh-huh.
time you like to work on.
Yes.
Second thing is leaders are readers. They are voracious
Mm-hmm.
readers. They
Yes.
keep reading and enhancing their knowledge, because learning is not a one day job. It's a continuous process. And the third thing about leaders, what I have known and read in self-help books, is they give back to society. So
True.
society
True.
has given you so much, and if you don't return, then probably you are not a leader, because you have to
True.
give back. So these are the
Absolutely.
three traits which are common for leaders, and this is across industries.
Very good.
So
Yeah.
I strongly urge everyone listening here, please start reading, no matter what
Mm-hmm.
your
Yes.
subject,
Get into
whatever
the
you
habit.
like,
Yes.
but get into the habit.
Mm. Very good.
So
Yeah.
that's the second influencer, in my life. And third is definitely my wife, Shweta, who
Mm-hmm.
have been married to for now 16, 17 years. So,
Very nice. Okay.
so that's a long time. So,
Yeah.
once, maybe 4 or 5 years back, I had
Mm-hmm.
started out a venture of doing a business, while working. So
Mm-hmm.
unfortunately, that didn't work out, and I ended up, losing a lot of money.
Mm-hmm.
And I was really out and down that time.
Oh,
It
okay.
was really, really bad phase of my life.
Mm-hmm.
And she was the one who kept encouraging me, and never let my
Mm-hmm.
shoulders droop. So I will be forever thankful to her for this.
Yes. Yes.
That's no, so she's also,
Amazing.
I'd
Yes.
like to mention that she's a very good counselor as well. So
Okay.
whenever I need something as a counseling, where I need some opinions, so she
Mm-hmm.
really objectively, without getting biased, she gives me a very
Correct.
objective opinion, which I really love about it.
Wonderful, wonderful. To have that support system in place in your family, that's truly wonderful. And you're really blessed because that, especially in those key moments, those difficult times, if you have that kind of support, then it really is transformational. So, Shweta ma'am, wonderful job. By the way, what does she do?
She is a HR professional. She has done MBA
Mhm.
in HR, but now after the birth of my both the kids, she's kind of a housewife. So she is taking full-time care about the human resources in my house.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, that's a full-time job. More than a full-time job,
More than
actually.
a
At
full-time job, yeah.
least in a job you have weekends off, but that is 24/7. So
Yes.
she's doing an awesome job. Yeah. And one last question I have for you, Anuj, is for people who are aspiring to develop their leadership skills and sharp and grow in their careers, what would your advice be? For
Okay.
someone who's just starting off, just
So
climbing the ladder.
I understand. So, so my advice to everyone who is aspiring to be a leader is, do not make the mistake which I made, that you become only leader when you have a certain CXO level designation. That's the
Mhm.
mistake I had, and I kind of carried it on for almost 15 years. So you don't make that mistake. So even if you are fresher out of college and this is your first job, you can still be a leader in whatever you do. You take initiatives, you already become a leader. Taking initiatives is the first sign of a leader. He doesn't
Mhm.
or she doesn't wait for somebody to tell what to do. So if you are in a job, even if this is your first job, and you feel this is a process, or this is a thing that has a scope for improvement, you go and do that initiative. If
Very much.
if you have to take permissions, do take it, but show that initiative and get that thing fixed. You're already a
Absolutely.
leader. You don't have to wait till you become a director or a senior
Yes.
director to be a leader, which you
Yeah.
wear
You don't need
black
a
coats,
crown. You don't
and you
need
don't
a
need a
crown on the
crown,
head to
yes,
become a leader, to behave like a leader. You can do
to
it
do behave
from
like a leader. So you can
beginning.
be a leader right from the first job.
Yes.
And even if
Absolutely.
you're middle management and you have been in a lead role, but you can still improve on it.
Absolutely.
Improve in the sense that you have to look out for things which can be done better, and there is always a lookout for people who take initiatives. As
Very true. Very true.
as Sudhi had said, leadership is a is a field where there is very less competition. So everybody doesn't want to be a leader because it has got a lot of responsibility as well. So my suggestion to everybody who aspires to be a leader is, the first baby step to become a leader is to take initiatives.
Very well said, Anuj. And for those of you who are watching, so we have the leadership mastery system, and all of us are part of a community called as the Leadership Hub Inner Circle. So I would urge you to join in, and it can be transformational. All the things that Anuj spoke about, you get to learn it, and you don't have to go through pain and suffering and stumble on your own and slip on the same banana skin that everyone else does. You can fast track your learning by joining us. So I'll be sharing the link along with this video. So do join. That's about it, Anuj. Thank you so much for this interview. It was very lively, very exciting, and really nice to hear of your stories and your experiences. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Sudhi. Thank you, and all the best to everybody listening. Thank you.